Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're making red, white, blue cheesecake salad. This is the perfect patriotic dessert just in time for Memorial Day. It's good for any summer get-together. Certainly hang on to it for July 4th coming up when you get ready to celebrate Independence Day. But for the red, white, and blue, we need blueberries, strawberries that I have just kind of diced up. And you know what? If you want to save a little bit of money, you can use frozen berries and marshmallows. For the filling, I have some vanilla, 8 ounces of cream cheese, that's just 1 block, 2 cups of powdered sugar, and a cup of heavy whipping cream or heavy cream, however they sell it in your store. It's heavy cream that you can whip. Now, you can also use an 8-ounce tub of Cool Whip if you don't want to whip your cream. It'll work too. To get started, I'm going to whip my cream while my jar is still cold. Now, a super easy way to make homemade whipped cream, and you don't have to go through any big process. Just take you a glass jar, something like this mason jar, and if you happen to have one of these little hand blenders or even an old-fashioned hand mixer or a stand mixer, as long as everything's cold, it'll mix up whipped cream no problem. I'm going to go ahead and whip my cream. Now, as long as everything's cold, in just a few seconds, your cream is going to be stiff. And I'm going to add just a little bit of my powdered sugar to this because we're going to mix it in with our cream cheese over here. In fact, let me get rid of a little bit of this in the cream cheese before I make a mess. All I'm doing is dumping some of my powdered sugar in my cream cheese there. And I just want about a couple of tablespoons of it in my whipped cream just to kind of help keep it fluffy while I'm mixing it in with my cream cheese. Now, if you were going to make this whipped cream and you wanted to serve it, you weren't mixing this all together, you wanted it as whipped cream, a little bit of powdered sugar and a little bit of vanilla, just a couple tablespoons of powdered sugar in it, and half teaspoon to a teaspoon of vanilla depending on how much you want, and then whip that up. And that's all there is to homemade whipped cream. And you can see that's stiff, nice whipped cream. You can, if you don't have powdered sugar and you want to make fresh whipped cream, you can also use regular granulated sugar. And you can use regular granulated sugar in this whole recipe. I would reduce it a little bit, somewhere between a cup and a half of regular sugar. Okay, get rid of that. And now, before I start mixing this powdered sugar and this cream cheese up, I'm going to go ahead and add my vanilla to it. Now, you could just add all the vanilla and the powdered sugar in here and then mix the cream in it. Couple teaspoons total of vanilla. I want to kind of mix this up a little bit with one of these beaters before I hit it with the electric mixer, because if you just hit it with the electric mixer, you're going to blow it everywhere. Okay, once you get it kind of mixed together, start with your electric mixer real slow. And you can completely mix this up by hand, use a potato masher or a whisk or something, but start it slow because it'll fling it everywhere. And this is a good job for your stand mixer if you have a stand mixer. It's, then you got to clean up a big stand mixer and everything. So sometimes I do this just with my little hand mixer. It's much quicker to clean it up if you don't blow it everywhere. Okay, and I didn't make too big of a mess, didn't blow it everywhere too bad. I don't even know if I need to scrape this. It looks like it's pretty well mixed. Yeah, I'll scrape it. Mix it just a little bit more after you scrape the bowl, because you do want all your cream cheese mixed in with your sugar really well. All right, that just takes a minute to mix up too. And if I didn't say it before, you do want that cream cheese at room temperature, because if it's really, really cold and hard, you're not going to be able to mix it. I don't care what kind of mixer you use. Once you have your cream cheese and your powdered sugar and your vanilla mixed together, just add your whipped topping or your Cool Whip, whatever you're using. Put about half of it in there and give it a little fold. And then you can add the other half of it. And you can see, it's pretty stiff. Just stir it together pretty good. Fold it. Try not to knock all the air out of your whipped topping, whatever you're using, if you're using fresh whipped cream or if you're using the Cool Whip. I like the taste of the fresh whipped cream better, and it is certainly healthier. It's dairy, it's real, and if you use real vanilla, you know, you don't have all that artificial stuff and chemicals that you get sometimes in the stuff like Cool Whip. And using this Mini Berries, you know, if you use the fresh Cool Whip, it's not, or I mean the fresh whipped cream, it's not too bad for you. Got a lot of calories still, and you can do the no sugar and the low fat and all that, or fat free in the Cool Whip if you wanted to cut the calories. But with all the fruit and the fresh cream, it's really not that bad for you. Okay, now that's our dressing for our cream cheese salad. And all we're going to do is combine our strawberries. I have about 4 cups of these strawberries that I've diced up. That's most of 2 of the boxes that you get in the grocery store. But if you're doing them fresh or you're doing them frozen or whatever, you want about 4 cups, maybe a little bit more chopped up. And I have 2 cups of the blueberries. And all we're going to do is add our cream cheese to it. Now you do want to be kind of gentle with this when you start folding it together. You don't want to squish all your strawberries and mash up your blueberries and all that stuff. And if you want to make this ahead of time, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can either mix up the components, you know, the whipped topping and the cream cheese and all that stuff, which I don't really recommend doing that. Or you can just get your berries ready and then mix up your cream cheese and stuff right before you're going to serve it. I would not mix this up days ahead of time. I would mix it up fresh the day I was going to serve it, or at the very earliest the night before I was going to serve it. And that's because once you add this cream cheese in here and all this sugar, it's going to draw juices out of your strawberries and out of your blueberries, and it's going to turn your cream cheese colors for sure. So it's not going to be so red, white, and blue. It's going to be kind of all pink, but it's also going to get much juicier. And I can see strawberry streaks, like you can see this right here, where I just now dumped those strawberries in on top of those marshmallows, and the sugar in the marshmallow is pulling the juice out of the strawberry. So it will do that as it sits. If you mix it up the night before, don't stir it before you serve it. If you stir it before you serve it, then it's going to streak it all up. If you have to do it the night before, just scoop it out and serve it, and try not to mix it up, and that will keep it from totally turning pink on you. And you can also save a few of the blueberries and a few of the strawberries to garnish the top with. You might want to mix it up and then serve it in some small dessert cups, or the little clear cups, like the little clear tumblers, the plastic ones. Those are really good for cookout desserts, especially stuff like this, because you don't have to worry about dipping it out when you get ready to serve it. You can just put them on a tray or a cookie sheet in the fridge, and then pull out the whole tray or the cookie sheet and pass them out. But you can see the cream cheese is turning pink, like I said, even mixing it up. And if you mix this up and serve it the next day, it's going to be really pink. But that's kind of all there is to it. Just gently toss it together. Save you a few berries to garnish it with, and you have a beautiful and very patriotic dessert that you can mix up in just a few minutes. Get the kids to help you with the strawberries and stuff. Cutting the strawberries is probably, in all honesty, the most time-consuming part of this. And it's super simple and really pretty and absolutely delicious. While you are celebrating this Memorial Day, or if you're making this for Independence Day, remember to take the time and tell your children and your grandchildren what we are celebrating. The reason for the holiday, Memorial Day especially, is to remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice America offers hope to the whole world, and it's because of those men and women who have given their lives for the way of life that we love so much. Maybe research your family tree and tell your children about some of their ancestors who played a role in forming our nation. John 15:13 says, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." And so many people have done that so that we can live in the greatest nation on the earth. And while you're teaching our children to remember those people who have laid down their lives, teach your children and your grandchildren to thank those people who are working every day to protect our way of life. The current and former members of our military, but especially the current members of our military who are serving in a time where it's not so popular to serve. And our police force who works every day to protect us. They work every night while we're asleep to keep us safe. Teach your children to tell these men and women thank you. There are hundreds of thousands of them who work and we never even notice them until something goes wrong. And if something goes wrong, the media in this country makes sure you know about those few, but that you never know about the hundreds of thousands who are going to be working this Memorial Day while you're celebrating with your family to keep you safe. While you're celebrating, while you're having a cookout, they're going to be walking around in hot uniforms and carrying heavy equipment, and they're not going to be with their families. So if you see them out, tell them thank you. Offer them something cold to drink or something to eat if you're having a picnic or a barbecue. Take the time to honor those and remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, and take the time to thank those who are still serving and protecting our nation. Thank you so much for joining us in the Hillbilly Kitchen. Happy Memorial Day, happy 4th of July, happy summertime cookout, whatever you're making this for. If you haven't already, please don't forget to click like and subscribe before you leave. And until next time, remember to put God first.